He's getting older.
He's got AIDS.
Oh, hit the volume button.
But not wiser.
Everybody has affinity for cock.
This is the Lefty Show.
Welcome, everybody, to the Lefty Show, episode number 38. I'm your host, Lefty. Glad to be here. Hope to put on a great show for you all today. I hope you all enjoy the show. Today, Wednesday, June 18th, in the year of our spaghetti monster, 2014. Welcome one, welcome all to the Lefty Show. Thank you to everybody that's been watching and liking and favoriting on YouTube, and subscribing on YouTube. Helping the channel grow helps the show grow. And thank you to everybody that's been sharing the show with your friends, family, and coworkers. It's easier to do that now that we have an RSS feed. The Lefty Show has an RSS feed. Go to leftyshow.podbean.com to subscribe manually there, and you'll get the show many times before it appears on YouTube. And in fact, pretty much every time, because my routine is I render the audio first, and then I put it up on the RSS feed while the video is rendering, because the video render takes a couple 10-15 minutes, and and the audio render for the RSS feed is quite a bit shorter. So subscribe to the RSS feed, leftyshow.podbean.com. We are on many of the Android podcasting apps. Just search The Lefty Show. You can also go to iTunes if you have an iOS device or you just want to listen to iTunes stuff on your PC, Mac, or tablet. Go to the iTunes store and search The Lefty Show, and you can subscribe there. Be sure to download all the episodes and leave a rating. And that'll help the show grow, and I thank you all for doing that. And it's much easier now to take the show with you wherever you go so that you can share it wherever you go. Thank you to everybody for doing that. Thank you to everybody that's been donating. I'mRacing.com/643 Productions. I greatly appreciate it. All the help you guys have been giving me. You are all amazing. I love it. I love you all. I'mRacing.com/643 Productions. There's a link in the description. Any donation is greatly appreciated and accepted graciously. Thank you all for donating. I'mRacing.com/643 Productions. You can also, you want to stay up to date on my musings, on my what's happening. You can go to twitter.com/lefty643 or just follow me at lefty643 on Twitter. It's where you can stay updated on everything that's been going on, like the new Amazon smartphone. Amazon today, in a press conference, revealed the new Fire phone, the Amazon Fire phone. It's not the Kindle phone. It's the Fire phone. As a live blog from Forbes, apparently it's going to have a 4.7. Here are the tech specs on it. 4.7-inch screen, which we'll get to comparisons in a bit. A quad-core 2.2 gigahertz processor and 2 gigabytes of RAM. A 13-megapixel, I'm assuming, rear-facing camera and optical image stabilization. The phone is also going to come with black headphones with flat cables and magnetic earbuds. They'll be included in every phone. You don't have to buy those separately, but I'm assuming you'll be able to. And we're getting into again this live blog by what's this guy's name? Oh my God, it's so long. By Ryan Mack. Thank you to him for keeping up this live blog on Forbes.com. Let's see what's going on. There will be Amazon Prime content will be available on the phone. It's updating. I have to refresh the page to get all the updates. The phone will have capacity for movie and television program streaming, and it will have a Mayday button that will allow it to contact Amazon's 24/7 helpline. They have a Firefly feature using the phone's camera to recognize label and information on anything from dishwashing detergent to books. Steve Bezos, I believe it's Steve, after he stood on stage, scanned a photo, and the products are brought up on an Amazon Marketplace app. And they're talking more and more about features and stuff. So 4.7-inch screen, 2.2 gigahertz processor, 2 gigabytes of RAM. I believe 2.2 gigahertz is a pretty big deal for smartphones. 4.7-inch screen. To put that into perspective, that's larger than an iPhone 5 screen about 0.3 inches in the diagonal space, smaller than the Samsung Galaxy S4 screen. The Samsung Galaxy S4 stream has a 5-inch screen. The iPhone 5 is just 4 flat inches. And the Amazon Fire phone will have a 4.7-inch screen, which is comparable to the larger smartphones out there. Apparently, people, I do personally, I really enjoy the larger screen, and the Amazon phone, the Fire phone, will be on par with that, and it will be, I don't know, it seems like it's a little bit smaller. It seems as though if in my mind, if you're Amazon and you're jumping into the smartphone game, you debut the biggest and baddest phone you can. You jump in and you say, here it is. This, what's under the hood, the quad-core 2.2 gigahertz processor, which I think is a pretty damn big deal. I don't know what's in the... I'm not sure what's in the Samsung Galaxy S5 or the iPhone. But you at least jump in with the big screen. That's what's in now, right? And in my mind, Amazon, if you want to steal the show, if you want to steal the marketplace from Samsung and Apple, respectively, collectively, I think they're about 68% of the smartphone market. You get in there and you say, hey, here's this big bad phone. 4.7 inches just seems, I don't know. If that's going to be your only phone, that's going to be Amazon's phone. And they've got phones and they've got tablets, but that's it. If there's other phones coming out, like a Note style, bigger, I don't know, phablet, I think it's called. It's in between a phone and a tablet. Okay, but there doesn't seem to be a whole lot, it just doesn't seem to be a whole lot there, or it's not the biggest and baddest thing it could be. It seems as though it's kind of just a mid-level, at least in terms of screen size, again, and features. It's okay, integrated with Amazon. Oh, here's an update. Bezos demonstrates the Fire phone's dynamic perspective, which allows for a 3D display on the device's screen. No glasses required. The Amazon CEO, now wearing reading glasses, toggles with a feature using the phone's Maps application and shows a 3D projection of the Empire State Building. All right, so that's pretty cool, and their shares are up more than Amazon shares are up more than 2% as a result of this announcement. The 3D thing's pretty damn cool. The glassesless 3D screen, that's cool. Top of the line hardware plus a glassesless 3D system, that's pretty goddamn cool. That nobody else is doing that. And I know actually Nintendo tried the 3DS. They tried to do that. It's actually really cool technology how they do it with aluminum filaments and allowing one half of the 3D projected thing to be shown on one part of the frame and then the other half. And that whole technology, the glassesless 3D is pretty cool. Now, if Amazon is saying we've got it, we've perfected it on our smartphone, well, that's interesting. So the Amazon smartphone has been unveiled again. Early reports, it was a poorly kept secret from the beginning. Early reports are that it will be available sometime this fall, 2014, and you'll be available to purchase that. Then I saw earlier in another news piece that they will be partnered. Amazon will with AT&T. So the phone will only be available to AT&T customers, or you'll only be able to put AT&T on it, much like the iPhone early on in its life was an AT&T exclusive. And I believe for the iPhone 2, maybe? Or is it the iPhone 3? Anyway, it's a later iteration of the iPhone. It was finally released to other carriers, Verizon, Sprint, T-Mobile, what have you. So AT&T exclusivity for a while and a 3D screen. I want to see Right now, this thing is only press only as we're reporting it to you, or as I'm reporting it to you. We got my producer, Eugene. Hello! Shut up, Eugene. You got on the show yesterday. No, I'm doing it again. Fuck you, Eugene. No, this is my show. Yeah, but I help. Fuck you. I want to see anyway, this is only a news press. Only newsies are there. And I believe a few select people. So I want to see like the actual consumer breakdown of it. Like, here it is. Here's what we're going to show you, the effects, what it can do, and see if there's anything really cool beyond the 3D projection and the top of the line hardware under the hood. 4.7-inch screen, though. I don't know. I like my Samsung's 5-inch screen, and sometimes I wish it was a little bit bigger. Don't we all, right? We all do at some point. Everybody has affinity for cock. Yes, everybody does. That was probably a little bit low. I turned up the levels. I had not turned up the levels from my intro. So the 4.7-inch screen, I just don't know if I can get past that. I like the 5-inch on the Samsung that I have, and sometimes I wish it was a little bit bigger. Like, I look at the Note 3 or the Mega, and I'm like, this is nice. I like this. I like the bigger screen. I don't know. Maybe I do have bad eyesight, so maybe that's it. So that's Amazon. That's breaking news. That's the first time I think we've ever reported any breaking news on the Lefty Show, the recorded podcast. So you all have witnessed history. I hope you all take a moment to reflect and drink in what we've been able to accomplish. And where the show, from our humble beginnings to now, reporting to you the latest and greatest tech news, which you're going to hear about an hour and a half after it happens, because I got to render it and upload it. Okay, so that's the Amazon smartphone. Interesting. I want to see an actual practical application of the 3D stuff. So let's get into not news, but I want to tell this story about this happened yesterday, and I just sometimes you can be you think you're being too clever for your own good, and you catch yourself doing it. And I had an incident like that yesterday. For those of you that don't know, the for Xbox One and Xbox 360, you no longer need an Xbox Live Gold subscription to make use of the video apps. That would be Netflix, HBO Go, Amazon Instant Video, MLB TV, anything else, ESPN, all the things out there, all the video apps for the Xbox are now free. And I believe my recording is hanging. We'll be right back. I got to take care of this record. What the hell is going on? We'll be right back. All right, so we're back. My apologies for that. Sometimes OBS has it's like a weird little hang. I don't even know how to describe it, and it's just weird. Sometimes you may have heard it. Sometimes in the podcast, my words will overlap each other, like I'm saying two things at once, and that's just a weird OBS thing. Anyway, we're back. So I was talking about, we all do things where we think we're being clever, or we think, I understand what this means, I'm going to do it, and we just turn out and it's just dumb. It's bad. It's dumb. It's wrong. And like I said, the Xbox, for Microsoft Xbox now, you no longer require an Xbox Live Gold subscription to watch their video apps. And so I got a media remote from UPS, the delivery for which was delayed across an entire weekend despite being guaranteed 2-day shipping. And, on that note, the thing was supposed to be delivered from Amazon via UPS 2-day shipping on a Friday. It didn't arrive Friday, and I had to wait until Monday to get the damn thing. So I called UPS on Saturday saying, hey, where's my package? The thing was supposed to be delivered yesterday, and it wasn't. It was like noon. I said, it hasn't been dropped off yet today. I want to know where the thing is. And they said, well, the guaranteed delivery date is Monday. And I said, yeah, that's the delivery date now. That's the guaranteed delivery date. But all the way up until today, the guaranteed delivery date was Friday. You changed it, but the package still isn't here. She said, well, if you haven't gotten it by the guaranteed delivery date, you should call back or call Amazon. And I said, no, I don't think you understand. It's not here by the guaranteed delivery date. The guaranteed delivery date was Friday. It's not here. We've passed that point. She said, well, sir, the guaranteed delivery date is Monday. I said, now it's the guaranteed delivery date because you fucking changed it because you didn't get the package here on Friday. You can't continually, and she wouldn't get it. You're moving the goalposts. You can't just move the goalposts. Say, oh, well, we said we'd get it here within the millennia. I know you paid for 1-day shipping and it didn't get here, but the guaranteed delivery date is now the next millennia. So it'll be there by then, we promise, but right now there's nothing I can do for you. And it's just what in the name of hell? You say you're going to do something and you say this is it. If you can't do it, don't fucking tell me you can do it. Don't tell me just say it'll be there when it gets there. Chill the fuck out. And I say, okay, I got nothing to say. But when you say it will be here on Friday, that's the guaranteed delivery date, and then Saturday comes and I still don't have the goddamn thing, I better not hear the guaranteed delivery date is now Monday, because it's fucking not. Originally, it was Friday, and you didn't get it there, and you changed it. We've already passed the guaranteed delivery date. Where is it? You can't say, well, now the guaranteed delivery date is 2 weeks from now, and we promise if it's not there by then call us. Just continually shifting the goalposts so you don't have to say, yeah, we fucked up. All I want is for somebody to say, yeah, we fucked up. Not, I'm sorry. Not a bullshit, I'm sorry, because you're not sorry, and I don't expect you to be sorry. If you're answering the phone for any corporation, any customer service, please don't tell me you're sorry, because you're not. And it's okay that you're not. You don't need to pander to me. I can understand that you don't give two shits and a fuck about whether my package is there on time or whether the product I bought from you is operating properly. I know you don't care, and that's okay. In fact, it's probably better that we dispense with the preliminary bullshit societal shit and just say, yeah, that's a fuck up, okay. All I want to hear, and I want fuck. I want to fuck. I want to fuck. Not in that way. But I want the person on the end of the phone to say, yep, that's a fuck up. We'll get that right. I will do my level average. Don't tell me you're doing your best either. Just say, I will do my level average to expedite this for you. Okay, thank you. I just want to have a connection with somebody on the customer service. Not bullshit pandering. Not I'm sorry. Just, yeah, it's a fuck up. We'll get it right somehow. And if not, there are avenues to make it right. And we'll explore those at that time. That's all just a little, just a more human connection as opposed to just a pandering, slobbering blowjob that is modern customer service. And I know some people like that. I know that the reason it is that way, the reason, oh, I'm sorry, sir, I'm your customer care advocate, I'm sorry. The reason there's bullshit like that is because just plebeians like to hear it. Some guy in some jerkwater town in Iowa who makes $25,000 a year kicking shit or something wants to feel like he's the head fucking honcho CEO when he calls up because his Dale Earnhardt, praise be to Dale, truck sticker didn't show up on time. He wants the, I'm sorry, sir. I'm Billy Joe. I'm sorry that your Dale Earnhardt sticker, I'm so sorry. And I know that's why it's like that, but that's not me. I just want to have a connection with somebody. Look, I rail a lot about the TSA, and I promise I'll get back to my point. I rail on about the TSA and TSA agents and shaming them and shaming them and shaming them. But here's the deal. If I go to the TSA and I get a pat down because I'm going to opt into a pat down because I don't want to be exposed to any extra X-ray than is necessary, than is reasonable, and I don't think getting an X-ray just because you're scared of getting an X-ray without a warrant, no, I'm good, I think. And also, quick retraction. It's like my show is like Inception. I have to go levels down and then be sure to hope to climb the levels back up, or I'll be stuck in infinity limbo, whatever world, forever. A quick retraction. The radiation used by the not the backscatter stuff originally the scanners used at the airports, which used backscatter, was dangerous X-ray, because you need to put more energy into the wave to pass it through flesh, or clothing and flesh. But just getting the X-ray to bounce off of clothing and then bounce or pass through clothing and bounce off the bounce off flesh or muscle or sinew. Sounds so cool. Sinew is it's inherently less energetic radiation. There's no safe dosage of X-ray. There's no such thing as good X-ray. No such thing. It's all bad, and it all carries with it the same chance or similar chances that you're going to get fucking cancer or melanoma or something. It's going to strike a chromosome the wrong way or a strand of your DNA the wrong way, and it's just going to tumor. But the energy put into, or the X-ray energy at that level for these new machines is not as dangerous as, say, getting an X-ray. So I retract that. Anyway, shame the TSA, shame them, and I say shame them, and I believe it's okay to shame them. But when I get a pat down, if I start saying, look, man, have you read the Constitution? The right of the people, I'm going to have it down. Let's get the wordage here. And I'm going to say, look, and I'll just start doing it like it's a proclamation with my hands up while the guy's feeling my junk. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. I'm going to say, is that what you're doing? Come on, man. I'm going to try to have I will try to have a personal moment with the TSA agent. And if the guy or girl or whoever does it, if they look at me and say, yeah, I know it's wrong, but I really need the job. I feel it's wrong. I know, dude. I get self-important, self-titled patriots in here all the time saying that. Trust me, I know the words, and I believe it, and I believed in my core that it's wrong, but I need the fucking money, man. Then I got nothing to say. Then I am not going to shame that person. That I'm going to offer my hand. My apologies for assuming the things I thought in my head behind my eyes about the things I had assumed. My apologies for all of that. Have a nice day. If somebody can communicate, if a TSA agent can communicate, they don't have to say, look, I get it, I understand. But if they can effectively communicate the idea that they get it, I say, okay. I'm not gonna beat you for that. I'm not gonna shame you and beat on you for doing that. And similarly, as I have completely lost my train of thought, fuck! I knew this would happen. I went too deep. They told me I shouldn't go deeper. They told me I shouldn't do it, but I did it. Damn it. So let's see. We were talking about. So anyway, similarly, if on the customer service representative, I'm not going to beat on you if you can just communicate. Look, I get it. That's a fuck up, and I'll make it right, or I'll try to make it right. I'm not going to expect the best from them. I'm not going to say you better fucking do it and unless they really piss me off. But if they say that's a fuck up, I get it, and I'll try to make it right. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day. So I was on the phone with this lady, and I said, where the fuck is it? She said, well, there's nothing I can do, blah, blah. And I said, wait, it's Saturday, right? Yeah, you guys do delivery on Saturday still, don't you? Well, yeah. Where the fuck is my package? Get it here. Said, well, there's nothing I can do. It's in the system. I say, all right, fine. She said, if you want, I can escalate it. And I said, no, you got me by the short hairs, and there's nothing I can do. Sorry for wasting your time. Have a nice day. Bye. Goodbye. Click. Hang up. So that was the story of getting the stupid Xbox Media Remote. Now it's here. Finally, Monday came. The guaranteed delivery date, which is bullshit. That's the guaranteed delivery date part 2. And me, being a genius, of course, because I'm nothing if not a genius, I set it up, and I don't want 4 remotes, right? Because you got to have the remote for this, the remote for that, the remote for the TV, the one for the PlayStation, the one for the Xbox, and fuck. I don't need this many remotes in my life. I don't want it. And I noticed the media remote has a bunch of TV functions on it, so I say, if I can program this for the TV, we can cut down significantly on 1, the number of remotes that I need to balance to do something, and 2, cut down on battery usage. So I said, all right, well, let's program this sumbitch because it needs to be programmed. And I look at the instructions, and that came with the Xbox Media Remote, and it says, your TV has a code. You can look it up here, or you can try to program it manually. I said, well, I don't know the code off the top of my head. I really don't want to go through the falderall of trying to look for it. So I'm going to program the thing myself. And it says, you've got to hold down, and this is the thing. This is the the exact wordage of this command. You need to put the Xbox Media Remote in like a search function. And it said, quote, press the mute and 5 buttons press and hold the mute and 5 buttons for 4 seconds to put it in search mode, and then use the channel up to cycle through codes until your TV turns off, then press enter. That's your code. And so I read that, and I read press the mute and 5 buttons and hold for 4 seconds. And I looked at the remote, and again, genius, nothing if not a genius. I thought to myself, well, I can hold the mute button with my thumb, and I took my left hand, the one that wasn't holding the mute button, and I tried to contort it to push 5 other buttons on the remote at the same time. Oh, God. I'm so dumb. So I do it, and I'm like, I think that's fine, or I hold it, and then I'm like, oh shit, I'm not pointing it at the TV. I'm like, I gotta point it at the TV, and I hold it for 4 seconds, and I'm cycling through. No, I'm not. I wasn't. I wasn't doing anything because I'm an idiot. It was not the mute and 5 other buttons. It was press and hold the mute and 5, the number 5 button, because it's got a 9-digit keypad or 10-digit keypad. Hold the 5 button, which was immensely easier than holding down the mute button plus 5 others. But I, of course, again, being the absolute unfettered genius that I am. Now, in the intervening time, after I was contorting my hand like an idiot, I thought, fuck it. I'm going to search I'll find the code. I'll find the TV thing. And it says in the instructions that came on the Microsoft instruction manual, and yes, the Media Remote has an instruction manual now for idiots like me. It says you can go look up your code at xbox.com/media remote. And it said, click this link. Or it says when you get to the page, click this link because it's a piece of paper. What link am I going to click? So I get on my phone and I go to xbox.com/media remote, and I click on the link that says find your code. I said, oh, God, this is going to be really easy. Oh, great. I can now finally cruise my Xbox without having to plug in the controller. And this is going to be amazing. So I click on the link on my phone, figuring it's going to take me to some database where I just look up my TV and it tells me the code. No, that's not what it was. It opened a video that just reread the fucking instructions that I had just read for the fucking Media Remote. It was literally a guy on camera reading the instructions that had ultimately led me to that page and that link. And what the I'm dumb. I'll give you that. I'm dumb. Are people that fucking stupid? That they need, because that video exists at that page, at that link for a reason, which tells me that at some point, somebody at Microsoft, whoever was writing the instructions, said, look, we've been getting so many calls from idiots that we need to, because obviously they'll read the instructions on the manual and it will send them to this page to click this link. We need to have that video, that link, just reread the fucking instructions to them. Not to actually do anything else, just read the instructions. Because the video said if you want to look up your code, go to support.xbox, support community. And I said, fuck that. Which is when I ultimately figured out that I was being an absolute dingus. And pressing 5 buttons. It made sense in my head. I swear to God, if you read the quote, if you read it yourself, you would have that instant. You would have that flash in your head because you're not a genius like me. It would just be a flash and you wouldn't actually do anything stupid. You would read the words and think, oh, I'm supposed to press 5 other buttons. How the fuck am I going to do that? Oh, wait, no. They're just talking about the number 5 button. I'm an idiot. Let's move on. But me, genius, I contorted my hand. It looked like I had some debilitating muscular disease. So that's how I turned programming the Xbox Media Remote into a 45-minute ordeal and about 20 minutes on this podcast. I'm an idiot, I admit it, but I think it's important that we all are all able to admit our idiocy once in a while. But not too much, though, because you've got internal monologues and a self-image to live up to, so you can't go chipping away at that too much. All right, let's do a little news, shall we? I like that idea. We're actually going to get to some stories today, I promise, in the news with Lefty. We're going to talk a little bit about the U.S. launching airstrikes in Iraq. Are they going to do it? Is that what's going to happen? Georgia carries out the first U.S. execution. The first state-sponsored execution or state-sponsored murder since a botched execution in Oklahoma. A federal agency cancels the Redskins trademark, says the name is disparaging, a landmark decision, and calls into question the entire future of the Washington Redskins. And the Dutch, of course the Dutch, this is such a Dutch thing, they plan self-driving trucks within 5 years. It's the news of Lefty, let's talk about it. All right, so let's talk a little racism, shall we? The Redskins. What makes the red man red? That's a fucking song in a Walt Disney movie, okay? You want to talk about, now, a lot of people think about, oh, well, who's racist towards Indians? Go watch, I believe, I forget which Walt Disney movie it is. There's a song called What Makes the Red Man Red. And it's about Native Americans being like shy or blushed because they are, embarrassed by something or about something. So there's, I have something against the manufactured outrage in our society. The just everybody's outraged about something. Everybody has a platform to spew outrage about. I'm outraged about this. I'm outraged about that. I'm so offended. I'm offended about this. Everybody has, one, an affinity for cock. Two, an offensive platform. Everybody is offended by something, and in our society, we've turned to, oh, what's offending you? Oh my goodness, this is offensive. We need to remove it. And oh my goodness, and I rail against that as much as I can because I think it sets a bad precedent. It doesn't move us forward. It in fact hampers us more than we believe it helps. However, the Native American, there is a lot of racism, or at least chance for offense, objective offensive imagery when it comes to Native Americans that not a lot of people talk about, because putting some blackface is objectively offensive. Oh yes, sir. Oh yes, man. Shine your shoes. That blackface, that vaudeville routine is, that minstrel show mentality, that born blackface is objectively offensive. It is, and imagine it being used not in a comedic context where the lines between what are acceptable and not acceptable socially are obscured or all completely laid down because it's comedy and it's supposed to be holding up a mirror to society. And, you get a pass if you're a comedian, in my mind, for doing stuff like that. But imagine using blackface not in a comedic context, but in a, that's how we do business. Imagine a Disney song about blackface. And in that context, oh shit, that's objectively offensive. Same is true for a lot of Native American imagery out there. It's not just manufactured outrage at the Florida State Seminoles, even though the Seminole tribe is settled in that part of Florida. They've been there for a long-ass time. Never mind that. It's objective offense. Like at the University of Illinois, a kid, supposedly a drunk performing arts student, he was routinely drunk, would, quote, honor the Iroquois, the Illini Nation, not Iroquois, the Illini Nation by dressing in traditional garb and doing a dance. But the white man never seemed to research the fact that the Illini ran around naked, save for a loincloth, tattooed head to toe. That's traditional garb. They didn't wear deerskin. They weren't Plains Indians. Plains Indians wore deerskin. Those were not the Illini people. They ran around with, I believe, mohawks, tattooed head to toe. But that's not what it was. They didn't wear headdresses, and they were tattooed head to toe wearing loincloths. This kid was in deerskins with a long headdress and face paint. Not the Illini people, not honoring them. That's objectively offensive. Now, similarly, the Redskins, the Washington Redskins, and an NFL football team, Redskin is nigger. That's it. That's all the discussion needs to be. Redskins is nigger. And if we can't say nigger in polite society and we can't profit off of it, and certainly we can't trademark it because federal law says you cannot trademark a logo or words or anything that would we'll get to the quote in the story. But a federal agency, this is from the Washington Post, cancels Redskins trademark. Or if you can't do that with nigger, well, you can't do that with Redskins because they're the same thing. They are Redskin, or Redskins is the Native American corollary of the word nigger. And this is from the Washington Post. Federal agency cancels Redskins trademark registration, says name is disparaging. By Teresa Vargas. The United States Patent and Trademark Office has canceled the Washington Redskins trademark registration, calling the football team's names, quote, disparaging to Native Americans. The landmark case, which appeared before the Trademark Trial and Appeal Board, was filed on behalf of 5 Native Americans. It was the second time such a case was filed. This victory was a long time coming and reflects the hard work of many attorneys at our firm, said lead attorney Jesse Witten of Drinker, Biddle, and Reith. Biddle and Reith, like kibbles and beats, but different. It's a little bit of Beverly Hills Cop 2 for you there. Good movie. Federal trademark law does not permit, this is the money quote, federal trademark law does not permit registration of trademarks that, quote, may disparage, end quote, individuals or groups, or, quote, bring them into contempt or disrepute, end quote. The ruling pertains to 6 different trademarks associated with the team, each containing the word Redskin. We are extraordinarily gratified to have prevailed in this case, Alfred Putnam Jr., the chairman of Drinker, Biddle, and Reith, said. The dedication and professionalism of our attorneys and the determination of our clients have resulted in a milestone victory that will serve as an historic precedent. And the story goes on and on. The ruling does not mean that the Redskins have to change the name of the team. It does affect whether the team and the NFL can make money from merchandising because it limits the team's legal options when others use the logos and name on T-shirts, sweatshirts, beer glasses, and license plates holders. In addition, Native Americans have won at this stage before in 1999, but the team and the NFL won an appeal to federal court in 2009. The court did not rule on the merits of the case, however, but threw it out, saying that the plaintiffs didn't have standing to file it. The team is likely to make the same appeal this time. So, this landmark case has happened before, and it may be thrown out. Just like it was in 2009. However, I'm torn on this because on the one hand, Dan Snyder, the owner of the Washington Redskins, the NFL franchise, is just a sniveling little weasel bastard dickhead cocksucker, and I hate him and wish awful things for him. However, I don't want to reinforce the outrage culture. I don't want to reinforce the offense culture, because whenever this comes up, whenever this Redskins talk comes up, I'm reminded of when I was studying this, when I took a couple of classes on Native American studies in college as electives. We were talking about offensive Native American imagery, and then the class discussion moved towards it was a very liberal kind of class. It wasn't regimented. There was a lot of group discussion, and it was basically show up. If you actually devoted some time to think about the issues presented, you got yourself an A, and that's what I did. But there was a discussion about just generally offensive imagery and how sports teams, it's centered on sports teams, at the University of Illinois, it was Chief Illiniwek, and then in Florida State, the Florida State Seminoles, and I believe South Dakota State or South Dakota, they have, there were some other Native American tribes. We were talking about that. And as the topic moved to more, general sports teams offensive, you're lumping in people together, and that's wrong. There was an honest discussion. Some kid I remember raised his hand, said this was in the wake of Hurricane Katrina. He said, well, after Hurricane Katrina, there's a lot of talk among people that the University of Miami, the Hurricanes, should change their name, and that's offensive. And there was an honest fucking discussion amongst people apparently achieving a higher education to become learned men and women about whether the University of Miami should not use the name Hurricanes because of Hurricane fucking Katrina. Now, I'm not saying that's how everybody thinks, but is that not indicative somewhat of the manufactured bullshit outrage offense culture we have created? And it's a very fine line to walk, because while I hate that, I also think it's stupid and dumb and wrong. It would be stupid, dumb, and wrong morally to name your team the Niggers. And that would be wrong. And just wrong. Just wrong. Not, well, we honor, it's been like this forever, it doesn't mean that anymore. Wrong. Similarly, Redskins. But I think that opens me up to say, well, if you say you can't use it to name a team, Lefty, genius, please refer to me with the proper title of genius. You're the one who says, if it's all or nothing with the use of the term. So if you can't use it here, there's no acceptable usage for the term nigger. Similarly for Redskins, cannot use it. Now it's and Lefty, you say all the time, it's just a word. Why are people so offended about the word? Does context not matter? Yeah, I guess that's a little bit of hypocrisy there, because I'm of the mind with offensive, strictly offensive, or words that we think of as strictly offensive, redskin, nigger, I don't want to go down this road. It's just going to piss people off. Let's stick with the two we have. Trust me that there's more. Honky. No, honky's just, I laugh when I hear that, because I'm just, yeah, stupid white people. But I'm of the mind, it's a big amorphous blob, the use of offensive words. Does context matter? Yes, but at the same time, no. I just there's so many things, for the people for whom the term is describing. Do we give them the keys to its use? That doesn't seem fair. That seems racist, and the word matters. And oh my goodness! But the Redskins, the trademark has been canceled, and they will undoubtedly appeal and say that the 5 Native Americans who filed to have this reviewed do not have standing to file the case. And if this makes me hypocritical, I suppose that's just the way it is. Now, in normal parlance, and using the term offensive terms, I say the usage of the word the keys cannot be given absolutely to the people about which the term is, or to whom the term is applied. Black people don't just get to decide the use of the word nigger. You can't say us, only us, but not you. No, that's wrong. You can't say in the proper context, us, not you. No. Either context matter for all of us or it doesn't. If you want to say blanketly no, okay. If we all want to say just blanket no, but I'm of the mind that it's a word. And like many words, like all words, context, it matters. And to draw racial lines, to combine context and draw it along racial lines, I think that's wrong. So I come to the determination that context, the use of the term in context matters. And if it makes me hypocritical to draw a deep line in the sand at naming your sports team the Niggers or the Redskins, I can't see. That seems to me to be a too egregious a use of the term. And context or not, regardless of context, regardless of intent when using the term, when you're on the stage of the Washington Redskins, context and intent ceases to matter because it's exposed to so many people. But then that brings into, then it says, okay, well then degree of exposure determines whether you can use a term. That's just, that doesn't make any sense. It's all crazy. But I say this, sum it all up to Dan Snyder, you're a fucking billionaire, or whatever you are, however much money you have. The Redskins, you own an NFL franchise. You have an effective license to print U.S. currency for yourself and your compatriots. You have an effective license to print U.S. currency. That license does not change and will not change significantly if you change the name of the team. If you change the name, if you change the branding, it will not change. People will still show up to see RG3 suck. People will still show up to see it and pay lots of money. So here we have, is the usage of the term in context, it's an iffy issue. It's questionable at best. I think we can all agree on that. It's questionable. So when you combine questionable, not definitive either way, but questionable, with you'd still have an effective license to print U.S. fucking currency if you just change the name of the team, it's not a big deal. To me, that communicates. To me, you add those two together and it equates to, well, just change the name of the team, man. Just do it. You're still going to make a lot of money. You're still going to be going to the bank. You're still going to be that scene from Scarface where he's got a train of guys bringing in canvas sacks filled to the brim with cash, hard currency. You're still going to have that. It doesn't matter what the name of the team is, what the image is. It's fine. And so to me, I say the choice is obvious then. You just change the name of the team if you are a forward-thinking, progressive human. If you're regressing, if you're just a spoiled little pretentious, sniveling, conniving, cocksucking asshole, butt muncher, funky butt-loving douchebag Dan Snyder, and you like to fuck goats, fine. All right. I guess then go ahead and just be that guy. Being that guy. Dan Snyder, I think we've stumbled upon it. Dan Snyder, that guy. Now in efficiency news, this is from Reuters. Dutch plan for self-driving trucks within 5 years. Dateline Amsterdam. Self-driving trucks could begin delivering goods from Rotterdam, Europe's largest port, to other Dutch cities within 5 years under a plan by a group of logistics and technology companies unveiled on Monday. The Netherlands is reviewing traffic laws to make large-scale testing of the technology possible on public roads. Infrastructure and Environment Minister Melanie Schultz van Hagen wrote to Parliament in a letter outlining the plan. Initial testing would start on computer simulations, and the trucks will be tested in a closed track before ultimately driving out on public roads, her letter said. The goal is to make the technology commercially available within 5 years, according to one participant. The Dutch proposal comes a month after Google Incorporated said it was developing 2-passenger self-driving cars and hopes to have built 200 of the vehicles within 2 years, I believe is what they mean. The Netherlands, a densely populated country, has a highly advanced infrastructure and is home to Europe's fourth largest airport, while Rotterdam Port is a major European logistics hub. So, the Dutch plan for self-driving trucks within 5 years. Now, whether that's technically feasible, whether the time frame is actually going to happen, I don't think so. But I would say in 10 years, 15 years, certainly 20 years, self-driving technology will be to the point where logistics companies and shipping companies will have no problem employing self-driving trucks. And this is another bullet point in the really cool technology. What Google is doing and what these companies are doing is really cool technology. Not remote driving cars, self-driving cars driven by a computer that can intake all the information from the vehicle and cameras and sensors all around it and operate a vehicle safely and in accordance with traffic laws and other human drivers. That's really cool technology. How many truck drivers are there? Shit, in Europe, Euro Truck Simulator is a game for a reason. I don't know if it's a testing platform, but you know, it's out there. How many truck drivers are there in the United States? Is there any doubt at all that when Google perfects the self-driving consumer vehicle, that technology will not immediately be applied to truck driving? It's just a bigger vehicle. The algorithms probably have to be a lot more precise because of the weight involved or the momentum and energy involved in a full weighted truck going 50, 60 miles an hour down a highway. So there's probably a thinner margin for error. And surely the shipping and logistics companies will want a thinner margin of error because of the valuable nature of the cargo in the back. But this is going to happen. This is technology efficiency coming for more jobs. And again, the technology is really cool, but I mean, here's the point. We're getting into this whole thing. We're making I think we're making the mistake again of just wading into the kiddie pool of technology and not even stopping to think about what it will do to our way of life, to our economy, our society. Clearly, a more efficient shipping or logistics portion of your company is great. You know, if UPS said, oh man, our drivers are much more efficient and we don't have to pay them as much because they're computers, and we just have to have some guy that's kind of there to take over if the thing fucks up. Maybe not even. I don't even know to what level the self-driving technology is if they're just allowing the computer to drive it without human input or without even the availability of human input. If the UPS could say that, or if other shipping companies, if cement truck companies say, oh man, we don't have to pay them, we just got to pay for the software. It's expensive now, but think about it, it just works. Oh my goodness, and we don't have to pay it benefits. Oh my God, yes, efficiency, efficiency, efficiency. It will make things really efficient. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But what about all the truck drivers, all the union guys that are now out of a job? What about them? This is not. It's a tougher question, at least I would hope, because now we're not shitting on the poor. Now we're talking about what is probably a middle-class job as truck driver. Lower middle class to be sure, if you're union, middle class. But truck drivers, this is not better yourself, not supposed to be your career. We need truck drivers. You can make a case, do we really need pimply-faced burger flippers? But we need truck drivers. We need a way for people to drive trucks or trucks to be transported, whether it be computer or human, and that's a job that we have society to fill. And those people are employed, and they pay taxes, and they buy things, and they buy homes, and they leverage their future income to buy all these complex things. That's what's done with the very fact of them being employed. But in the name of efficiency, we are going to make that job that much more tenuous. It won't immediately result in millions of truck drivers being fired, because again, I think there's a place for, you just sit while the computer drives, and if you need to, if you need human input immediately because of a fuck up, well, you're there. You can take wrest control from the computer. But are you really going to pay a truck driver a lot more money to do that then if he just has to sit? Think about what is done to the position of truck driver if it doesn't have to be all 35%. If 35% of trucks in the trucking industry become automated, and that's just a number I pulled directly out of my ass, but it's certainly much less than half, only 35%. How many people is that? There's millions. Okay, so you just put, 30,000 people out of a job? Or put 30,000 people in a tenuous position, so let's say half. That's 15,000 people now out of a job. Let's say half of them become completely expendable and are just expended. That's 15,000 people out of a job immediately. Boop. And that's only at 35%. And that's a bullshit, just numbers off the top of my head. What are we going to do with those people? Where are they going to go? Find another truck driving job and compete with automation? Efficiency is really cool. However, just a blanket approach, an unyielding lust for efficiency, we are either going to have to stop that, and we're going to have government say, no, you cannot use automation to the point of efficiency is fine, kinda, but if you cannot use this amount of automation to do it, because we need to fucking employ people. People need to be employed. They gotta have jobs, so they pay taxes. What the fuck? The Google driving car, the software doesn't pay taxes. It doesn't. So we're either going to have to do that, we're going to have to intervene and negatively reinforce automation and thus efficiency. We are going to have to introduce inefficiency to preserve our way of life, or we're going to have to completely abandon the model that we have. We're just going to have to get rid of it. The idea of a majority of society goes to work every day and we all create a bunch of things that interlock together and it's really complex and we create this thing we call it an economy, that's going to have to go away. We're going to have to think of something else. Another way for people to get money. Maybe we have to abandon completely the idea of money. And we have to change as a society our idea of what is valuable and what is value and how do you communicate it and what's important. Is important to have value, whether it be objective value or subjective value. What's more important, etc. We would have to change fundamentally so many things about our society if our society gets more and more efficient. Because efficiency, as it applies, efficiency coupled with technology means fewer jobs. And okay, well, it's great. Oh, your shipping portion of your company is a lot more efficient now. Okay, well, your federal income taxes are going to go way up because you just put 50,000 people out of a job, and we need to take care of them somehow. So have fun with that. Somehow I think there would be cries against that too. Similarly, this is Dateline Washington from the AP. 2 senators unveiled a bipartisan plan Wednesday to raise federal gasoline and diesel taxes for the first time in more than 2 decades, pitching the proposal as a solution to Congress's struggle to pay for highway and transit programs. Fuel efficiency. Here is, the Federal Highway Trust, the fund out of which many local highway projects get funded or get a majority of their funding, is fucking broke. It's broke. It's out of money. We can't pay for it. We need to create money to pay for all these things, and that's bad. I think that's called inflation, and that's not good, right? We need to just manufacture money out of nowhere and say, yeah, okay, whatever, to pay for it, to pay the workers, to pay for the materials and the rights of way, all that stuff. And that is in part because our society has become so efficient. We didn't want to pay for gas. Right around 2001, when gas prices always trend upwards, at least because inflation is just a thing. You don't really stop inflation. It just kind of happens. And people stopped wanting to pay it. So we all of a sudden driving more fuel-efficient cars, driving electric cars now. Okay. Well, now the Federal Highway Fund is broke. What are you going to... You're going to complain about, you better not complain about if your efficiency is awesome, efficiency is amazing. Well, then I don't want to hear you bitching when your Prius has to have a new suspension because of all the potholes on your local roads and highways. Don't want to hear a goddamn word. We have to fundamentally change, and this is because the Highway Trust Fund is funded primarily from gas taxes, federal gas taxes. That's why a 12-cent hike in taxes on every gallon of gas, 12 cents, fucking 12. That's a big number. That's a big number. All because we didn't want to pay more at the pump, which, right or wrong, okay, now we're driving more fuel-efficient cars. There's no such thing as a free lunch. No such thing. You want to pay less for gas, or you don't want to buy gas at all because you think it's too expensive? Okay. Now the Federal Highway Fund is broke. Have fun paying for all that shit. Now it's going to fall to the municipalities and state governments, and where are they going to get it? Are they just going to manufacture money? Are they just going to go in debt? No, they're going to get it from you, and you're going to have to pay for it eventually. So fill the air with all the smug you want about your Prius. Well, now it's broke. Fill the air with all the smug you want about your hypervigilance and turning off lights all the time and buying really efficient electronic devices. Okay. There's a Commonwealth Edison, which serves a lot of the portion of Illinois. I don't know how widespread they are, what their footprint is. But Commonwealth Edison coming in August, a 30% hike in energy rates. 30%. 30%. Now, are they gouging? Probably a little. So let's say it's a 15%. Half of it is a gouge. 15%. Because we're all more efficient and we're not buying a lot of energy. We're not using as much energy as we used to. And so to pay for all the infrastructure and the upkeep on the infrastructure, but not in my backyard, and to get the power to us, the power company, a legalized monopoly, has got to say, look, we got to fucking pay for this shit somehow. You guys aren't using enough. And by using, we mean paying. You're all really efficient, and that's great, but now you're going to have to pay 30% more for what you do use. No such thing as a free lunch. Efficiency is great. Somebody's getting fucked, or somebody's going to have to pay for it. Whenever I hear, oh, it's great because it's efficient. It's going to be efficient. This new thing is going to be efficient. It's going to be efficient. I say, well, who's paying for it and who's getting fucked? Somebody's getting fucked. And we jump into these things as a society because, oh my God, it's the greatest thing. It's so great. It's so great. It's so great. It's going to be amazing. Oh my God, wind energy, solar energy. Oh, really? What is, if we need to provide all the power for the United States from wind energy, how many solar or how many wind farms are we going to have to put up? Okay, what is that going to do to wind patterns? Is that going to mix the hotter air that tends to be higher up in the stratosphere? Is that going to bring it and drag it down towards the ground level to mix it in with the cooler air at the bottom? And is that going to overall raise ground temperatures? Is it going to accelerate global warming? There's one study that says so, but you never hear that with people. Oh my God, wind farms, it's free energy. Is it? Solar, oh my God, solar energy, solar energy. Now there's nanotechnology, which is going to be really fucking cool. Apparently there's nanotechnology on the horizon that will make solar, it's on the nano level, and they've got it to the point where I believe they can get, once you take energy out of a photon, a ray of light, once you take energy out of it, it changes its wavelength. But the problem is it might not resonate at that level. And so you'd have to change the solar panel to get more energy out of that same photon. So if you develop an array of sorts, I believe I'm saying this right, if you develop an array of different, we're going to call them widgets, that can resonate at the different frequencies of light that cascade down as you take more and more energy out of it, you can actually get more energy out of a single photon than this stuff now. And it's I don't know what, I think it's carbon-based or something like that. And no cadmium, no rare earth metals involved. Really cool stuff. But that's nanotechnology 20, 25 years away. Right now, oh my God, solar, solar, solar. Are we going to have the glass for it? What are we going to do with all that cat? We get 50%, or let's say we get 75% of U.S. energy needs from solar panels. Okay, what's the lifetime on that? 10, 20 years? What happens in 10 or 20 years when we need to recycle all that solar stuff? A lot of that can't be recycled, and a lot of it's dangerous. What about making it? You realize the production? How much we're going to have to ramp up production of very harmful stuff? That's pretty fucking dangerous and not good. Oh, we're just going to use more electricity instead of gasoline. Okay. Primarily, our power grid is powered by coal-fired plants. Do you know what strip mining does to the environment? You know what strip coal mining does to humans? Is that, but in the name of efficiency, in the name of technology, we just wade into it. Yeah. Never mind the fact that one of the primary reasons why we are in this hole, why we are staring down the barrel of global climate change, is because we waded into petrochemicals without thinking about the consequences. We just went in, oh my God, it's free energy from the earth. Oh my God, we just burn it. We could do so much stuff. And oh my God, we put it in this thing and we can refine it and we get a bunch of different stuff. We get knocking and we get all this, we can get the methane and the butane and the gasoline and the diesel. And oh my God, there's so many different things. Oh, it's so amazing. And we just did it. And we didn't think about what it will do, what the long-term consequences are. Whether they be environmental, economic, whatever. We're making the same mistakes, but because it's wrapped up in carrying the shield of efficiency or technology, we're just supposed to accept it at face value. Well, I don't. And I'm just, I think that's a problem. I think we should all kind of slow our roll a little bit on all this efficiency crap and say, wait a minute. Maybe a little inefficiency, while obviously not efficient, is better for our way of life, better for our society. Unless we want to tear down the walls and completely redo how we exist, how we all coexist. Unless we want to do that, maybe we should just kind of slow down and say, wait a minute, is it a good idea to introduce self-driving trucks? While efficient, yeah, but truck drivers pay taxes and they vote. What is that going to do to them? What is that going to do to what's left of the middle class in America and shit, the world? But, oh no, it's efficient, so fuck it and fuck you. All right, let's bring it home. Woo, another great Lefty show. Thank you all for joining. Had a great time. I hope you did as well. Thank you to everybody for watching, liking, and favoriting on YouTube. Helping the channel grow helps the show grow. Thank you to everybody for sharing the show with your friends, family, and co-workers. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you to everybody that's going to share the show on your mobile device. We're mobile, baby. Go to leftyshow.podbean.com. Subscribe to the RSS feed there. We are on Android podcast, RSS feed aggregate stuff. Search your favorite one of choice, The Lefty Show. Or you can go to iTunes, baby. iTunes. Go to the iTunes store, search The Lefty Show, download, and rate at your leisure. Thank you to everybody that's been donating and will donate. I'mRacing.com/643 Productions. Thank you guys for joining. I hope you enjoyed. That's my time. I got to get out of here. I'll catch you next time. I'm out. Bye. Everybody has affinity for cock.